Hey, welcome to Happiness Hunt.
Hello, everyone.
So we're going to continue our series on wellness today. And we started last week with talking about emotional and mental wellness or health.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we thought we'd talk about anger today.
That's a fun topic.
And maybe joy.
It makes me think of
So
volcanoes.
keep a nice balance.
Oh.
Yeah, a nice balance.
Okay.
Anger, joy.
They sound like opposites.
Yeah.
In a way.
So, anger. It's hard for me to talk about this one because I don't ever get angry.
Neither one of us do.
Yeah.
We never get angry. We're model parents, model human beings, in fact.
Very patient. I'm a very patient person, and so is my wife. We're probably two of the most patient people I've ever known.
We know this topic pretty well.
Yeah. Yes, we do, actually.
Yeah.
Our fuses are just a little bit short. Yeah. So anyway, we talk about anger. So, last time we talked about how there's positive emotions and negative emotions. So I want to just talk a little bit about that a little bit more and drill down a little bit. Because we talked last time about how emotions are triggered by sensible inputs. So what we see, hear, taste, smell, touch.
Environment, yeah.
I think I got all five this time.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we talk about those negative emotions, every emotion has like an object or something that is sort of the object of that feeling. So hate is what we feel towards something that's just pure evil, right? Like something that we perceive as pure evil. So anger is what we feel towards something that we feel threatens us that we think we can overcome. Mm-hmm. That's why we get angry. It's sort of like a cannon blast. So we go out to meet the thing that is stressing us or making us upset, and we're going to defeat it by shouting and screaming and carrying on. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's anger. Then you can feel fear, which is it's different than anger. Fear is what you feel towards an imminent threat that you're not sure if you can conquer or overcome. In fact, you tend to lean towards in the direction of, I'm not going to overcome this, that's why I'm afraid of it. Yeah. And then sorrow or sadness is what we feel when we have been defeated by something that we perceive, something that's threatening to us, and it conquers us. Mm. So, for example, when we lose a loved one to death, we feel sorrow or sadness because death is pretty final. So, we know we can't see that person again in this life. Yeah. So we feel sorrow and sadness. On the positive side of things, we have love. Love is what we feel towards that which we perceive as just pure goodness, right? And then we have desire. Desire is what we feel when we're seeking a good that we have not attained yet. Mm. And then joy is what we feel when we attain that good that we've been seeking, and we rest in it. Okay? So that's kind of like the way emotions, and there's subsets of each of those. Like impatience is another negative emotion, and usually that's what we feel when we have to suffer through something that we know will end. Right? Mm-hmm. But we have to wait for it to end, like standing in line. Yeah. So those are, you can create like different like subsets of different feelings and emotions. Now, obviously, we're wired and designed to feel things and have emotions. So there's nothing wrong with having feelings and emotions. In fact, there would be something wrong if we didn't have feelings about things. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. So, but the problem is when we feel things too much or too little. Then we ought to. Right? So, let's talk about anger. So, anger usually has a relationship to things that we want to control, that we are aggravated,
like
upset, frustrated by. Cream?
The cream.
What, being left out?
Cream on the top of the milk.
Oh, you mean when the kids drank all the cream?
No, they opened the gallon of milk before I siphoned off the cream.
That's very complicated. Who understands that? We get raw milk, see, and there's cream on the top, and we siphon that off for cream. And then the kids drink the skim.
It's not really skim, it's whole milk.
Yeah, it's whole milk. Sorry, I got that wrong.
No.
But yeah, anyway, but the kids, they drank it. So
before I got to it.
Yeah.
And I lost my cool. But the one kid I didn't talk to about this whole thing was the kid who did it. So was it really?
Yeah. You lost your patience.
I lost my patience.
Yeah. Well, anyway, these are like minor things.
Yeah.
But like, you can think about someone who has like a rage, like a real anger management problem. You ever hear that? People with anger management problems are people that they just have a lot of wrath in them. You know, their cortisol levels go, whoosh, they spike really quickly. They get triggered very easily.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they have a very disproportionate response to something. So the anger is way greater than it ought to be.
Yeah.
There are some people, and we know, where anger stews. So they have a hard time expressing anger and allowing anger to come forward, so they kind of stuff it.
Mm.
And then later it becomes a volcano.
Mm.
Yeah. Do you know anybody like that?
Is that you?
No. You know, my mom is maybe like that a little bit. Your dad's like that. You know, just kind of, you know, it's like,
he doesn't
take a lot to get to ruffle the person, but when they do get upset, it just
it's kind of the take it, don't say anything, don't say anything. And all of a sudden we're going to say everything that we've been wanting to say and thinking for a long time.
Yeah, so you, on the positive side of emotions, you can say, you can kind of do the same thing. You can think about things that we desire too much. You know, we get too excited and look too forward things, and then when we finally get those things, we're kind of let down and disappointed. We don't experience the kind of joy and fulfillment that we think we're going to, and that's probably because we love and desire those things more than they deserve.
So that's not really reality then.
Right.
It's kind of a outside of reality.
Yeah. Or some people don't feel enough desire for something that they ought to. So they're kind of like, you know, there's kind of glum. Yeah, they just don't, they can't get, you know, fired up about something that they should get fired up. So the thing with emotions is that emotions, the reason why virtues are important is because virtues help our emotions strike the right balance. And the right balance is when we feel what we feel in accordance with what's real. Mm-hmm. And not only our perceptions. Our perceptions can be off. They can be overwhelming or underwhelming, either in a bad way or a good way.
So good to know this about yourself, because then you can constantly be doing reality checks, like, how real is this? How real are my feelings around this, this thing or the other thing?
Yeah, and the other thing that happens around emotions getting triggered is that we tend to get very upset over things that we fail to do that we can control. And we also get upset at things that we can't control. Right?
I do that.
Yeah. So the trick to having balance and homeostasis in the emotional landscape is that we need to take responsibility and actually do the things that we can do. And because we often get angry, we project that anger on other people when it's actually our fault. Mm-hmm. Like maybe going back to the other day, you didn't tell Brielle that you didn't want her to drink the milk, and so you got angry and it wasn't really fair. Yeah. Because she didn't know, right?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, it
wasn't. Or you know, or we get really angry.
Seth was in the room and he didn't tell her.
Yeah, well, it's a first world problem. Completely.
I know, right.
It's like people are dying around us and we're worried about the milk.
It was a minuscule moment in time, for sure.
But anyhow, so we can also get angry over things that, or overly sorrow or depressed over things that we can't control. So
are you going to tell the stoplight story?
I am. I'm getting to it.
He's getting to it.
But we have to like.
I like this story.
Yeah. So we have to you know, get really good at doing the things that we can do, so we feel peace when we do that, and letting go of the things we can't control, because then we feel peace too, and then our emotions are kind of stable. Yeah. But so here's the traffic story. So I'm notorious for this. So I leave late for something I need to get to, and then I hit every red light. So I get like kind of road rage. You know, I'm mad. My steering wheel has like a depression because I yell.
Fingerprint marks.
And it's my fault, because I could have left on time, and then I would have not would have.
Red lights don't phase you when you leave on time.
Yeah, exactly. And I probably would have hit all green lights if I had left on time.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So, and I can't control the red lights. See, I don't know if that's ever happened. And then you get behind a slow person.
Oh. Number 3.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's the kicker.
Yeah. So, it's we can part is we just have a very stressful environment. So, learning to just find peace in taking responsibility and doing things you can do, you find a lot of joy and satisfaction in that because you rest in the goods that you seek that are right in front of you and within reach. And then you let go of the things that you can't control, and you also find peace, and you find sort of joy. And this is where I think for us faith is really important, because the way to be able to let go of things you can't control is to trust and believe that God has everything under control.
Yeah.
Like, whatever's happening, He knows what He's doing. He's the boss.
Right.
Things are going to be taken care of, and I don't have to worry about it, even if it seems like I should, or I don't need to be afraid of it, even though I don't really need to be afraid of it. So, part of the trick to having that mental and emotional well-being is making sure that our mind, our thinking, is in touch with reality.
Yes.
So, oftentimes we can get angry.
That's such a stabilizing factor if you can really do that.
Yeah. Now, obviously, there's, like we've said in our previous videos, there's other things that can trigger us. We can have hormone imbalances and be very susceptible to either high levels of cortisol and a lot of anger, or low feel-good hormones, so we're depressed and sad all the time. And so that's why positive thinking doesn't always work. And a lot of people, it is important to say this.
Just poor cognition.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people think that if I just have positive thoughts, then I'm going to feel better, and it does help.
It does help.
It does help a lot. But we got to take care of all of these different things. And when we move into the next segment of our series, we're going to do one more on emotional and mental wellness. But when we look into behavioral and then spiritual well-being, these are really important for helping us sort of stabilize these first two areas. Yeah. So there's kind of like a dependency that kind of goes up from the body to the emotional and mental states. To our behaviors, and then up to our spiritual and existential.
Yeah, and like reaching the highest levels spiritually involves these other two layers.
Yeah,
so we may struggle to find a spiritual health if we're struggling in these other areas.
Yeah, and vice versa.
Right.
If you're not spiritually grounded and grounded in virtue, which is more the moral and behavioral part, then you oftentimes do things that create all of the instability and imbalance.
Right.
So it's kind of a complex but beautiful reality. Emotions are a wonderful gift.
Yeah.
And sometimes in our culture we tend to shy away from the negative ones, and part of being a virtuous person is that we should feel negative emotions in proportion to negative things. Like, if you lose someone, you should be sad, and you should grieve for a while.
Right.
If someone does something that's really outrageous and offensive, you should be angry.
Yeah.
You just shouldn't be enraged.
Right.
Or wrathful, or vindictive, or, have a vendetta. Or, if you do have to wait for a long time, it's kind of natural to feel impatient. That's why we celebrate Advent before Christmas. It's kind of normal. Yeah, and Lent.
The waiting periods, we have two big ones, and I think God planted them there for a reason.
Yeah.
So
anyhow, this is all we have to say for today. So pay attention to your feelings and to the objects of your feelings. What is it that's making you feel what you feel at a given moment? And is your perception of that thing realistic? Are you looking at the reality of it, or are you blowing it up in your mind, or neglecting it too? Neglecting it, like you have an underwhelming response to something, that you just kind of like shrug your shoulders. Apathy, we call that apathy.
Right.
Yeah. So anyhow, if you like this video, please like it, subscribe, share it with other people. We'll be back next week for one more video on emotional and mental health, wellness, well-being. All right, see you everyone.
Bye.
Take care.